What Radio, the music you want.
With your host, Keys Dan.
It's very important you don't stink today. Hey, I make no guarantees.
RadioWhat.com. What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan from RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And today on the program, we have two members of the Bad Habit Band of Little Rock, Arkansas. We have Jack Bennett and Sam Bennett. And if you wonder why their last names are the same, it's because they're brothers. Yeah, brothers. All I know about them right now is that they're good. I got to hear them at an acoustic type show, a very intimate show on Black Earth Art Studios, which is now not there in Conway, Arkansas. It was across the street from, King's Piano Bar and also the Ford Theater. There was an art studio there, and they used to have bands come from time to time, and I'm very sad that it's gone. I hope that it comes back in some kind of an incarnation, Black Earth Art Studios. But to bring it back up, my shows this week on Thursday, I will be at the Old Post Barbecue in Russellville, Arkansas. That is Thursday, the 23rd of May. And that's for the Video Dance Party Karaoke Jam. They got great food, and they even have some adult beverages if you feel like imbibing. And of course, yours truly hanging out there behind the karaoke computer and the ones and twos. I'll be mixing it up for you. And then on Friday, May 24th, catch me at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. I didn't forget it. I really didn't forget it. No, I'm there every Friday, for crying out loud, at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas, with the full bar and the full kitchen and the pool tournament and the karaoke and the gigantic Jenga game that every time somebody gets the Jenga, all these big giant blocks come down and I hear, Jenga! It's great. And then on Saturday, May 25th, it's the benefit for Brookside. It's the Brookside Fiesta, and that's put together by Bilingual Consultant, LLC, Claudia Fountain. She invited me to be a part of this show, and let me read a little bit about what's going on over there. It's join the families of Brookside for a Mexican fiesta to celebrate and share with you their Mexican heritage, culture, and food. Fresh tamales, tacos, empanadas, and homemade flour tortillas will abound as you and your family enjoy the music of the traditional mariachi Jalisco and the famous Leticia Reta Ballet Quetzaltale folkloric dancers, Isaac Huelguera, Frida Auction. Come learn more about our neighbors to the south as you feast in support of our Brookside neighbors. Brookside is a community in Conway, Arkansas that they're being evicted. About 100 families being evicted by the end of June. So come on out. It's going to be over at the Conway Ministry Center from 10 to 3, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And that's at 701 Polk Street in Conway, Arkansas. Be there. I'll be there. Yeah, maybe you can do some karaoke there too. I'm going to have some fun. Anyway, it's time to get to the program. Let's talk to Jack Bennett and Sam Bennett, the brothers that are at the front of Bad Habits Band. Let's call them the Bennett Brothers. Let's call them now.
Hello.
Hello, Jack Bennett, please.
This is Jack.
Jack Bennett? You mean the Jack Bennett of Bad Habit?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's a fantastic band. I've seen them myself. This is Keys Dan from the What Makes You Famous podcast. How's your day?
It's going pretty well so far. How's yours?
Oh, super duper, man. It was raining a little bit. I spent the day up in Russellville just driving around. Yeah. How did you spend your day?
It was a pretty normal day. I woke up and hung out with my dog for a little bit, and then I had to go to the dentist to get a follow-up on my wisdom teeth removal, and then just hanging out, went to see my grandfather, and now I'm sitting here with my brother.
Oh, your brother's in the room. Who would that be?
His name's Sam Bennett. How's it going?
Sam Bennett. You know, I saw your Facebook pic, and I mentioned it yesterday on the podcast with Zachary. You're very well dressed, Sam Bennett.
Thank you.
Is that a normal thing for you? Do you get dressed up in a tie most days?
No, not really. That was a picture we took at Jack's graduation for high school.
Oh, Jack has graduated. All right. So what time do you wake up? Let's see. I guess I'll have to go back and forth with Sam and Jack and Sam. So I'll address you when I'm asking you certain things. And whenever something catches my attention, that's usually when I ask a question about it. So extracurricular activities are pretty important in the podcast. And usually I start where you're from, where you are, and where you're going. So let's start with you, Jack, Big Jack, since you're the big bro. Where are you from?
I was originally born in Nashville, Tennessee, which, as most would know, is a great place for musicians to get started. But we moved here to Little Rock when I was 2 years old, and
oh no,
I know,
could have stayed in Nashville.
I know. But yeah, we've just been in Little Rock since about 2002, and
very cool. Sam Bennett, where were you born?
I was born right here in Little Rock in November of 2002.
Have you even ever been to Nashville?
Yes, sir. I've been a few times.
Well, all right. Calling me sir is like putting an elevator in an outhouse. Call me Dan. We boys now. We boys.
Sounds good.
So I have Jack Bennett, Sam Bennett of the Bad Habit Band. Now that's putting you in a very small box because you are so much more than just your band. You know, there are other things that you do in this great life and many things that have brought you to this point. So since our Venn diagram is converging in Little Rock, I guess we could start there. The 2-year-old Jack and the just born Sam. Let's talk about your parents. How's mom? What did she do?
Mom is a third grade teacher at Pulaski Academy, where Sam goes to school.
Dig it. And then dad?
We're not really clear what dad does.
Okay, I get it.
Dad's a contractor. He does lots of different jobs.
Okay, when you said that, it kind of led me to secret agent.
Oh, yeah.
Navy SEAL, okay. So contractor, excellent. He builds things.
No, more like he takes the contracts, I guess. He works in the pharmaceutical area.
Oh.
And what he's been doing a lot lately is he'll go to a lot of different cities across the country and just teach programs and kind of get people up to speed on whatever it is that they are learning.
So not necessarily a drug dealer, but maybe a mule?
No, not that either.
Okay, no, okay, all right. Maybe I'm just projecting. Okay, so, all right, we start in 2002 at very young aged Bennett's, the Bennett boys. And
Right.
Are there any other siblings in the family?
No, it's just us.
Ah, the Bennett boys. So you're bound to be together. Did you growing up? Did you get along very well?
Probably as much as any other scenario you'd see with brothers, but we've always kind of had a strong bond when it comes to music and stuff like that. We've always sort of played together.
See, you're steering me to music, and I'm steering you to. Hey, did you fight? Did you wrestle?
Yes, sir. There's all sorts of that stuff going on.
Now remember, it's Dan. And
All right,
so
man.
was that Jack talking or Sam talking? I keep forgetting to address you.
This is Sam.
That's Sam's voice, and then
This is Jack.
this is Jack's voice. Okay, they're very similar voices, and that makes sense because you grew up together. You grew up in the same places. A lot of times, siblings sound pretty much alike. Now, did you go to Pulaski Academy your whole life, Jack?
Yes, sir, I did. Sorry, I'm prone to saying that. Yeah, I did from kindergarten all the way through 12th.
Now say Dan.
Dan.
Yeah, or Daniel. Either way, whatever you'd like, Dan or Daniel or Keys. So, all right, and then Sam, you've been at Pulaski Academy your whole life as well.
Yes, I've been going to PA ever since 3-year-olds.
Good school.
Even
Sam.
Yes, this is Sam.
No, good school, Sam.
Oh, yeah, it's a pretty great school.
Pretty
Lots
good
of,
experience.
with faculty. Yes.
And any friends? How's the friend situation?
It's pretty good. I've got a good group of guys that like to hang out with and do stuff with.
That's cool. And Jack, how was your school life?
Oh, went pretty well for the most part. I had a pretty good social scenario, I guess. I had a pretty tightly knit group of guys that I hung with, and like Sam said, just kind of stuck with them for most of the years there. And unfortunately, now we're all kind of spread out all over the country and don't talk that much.
See, that was going to be my next question. Now, with social media, you get to keep up with people. I'm from Miami, Florida, and I went to high school in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Davie, Florida, which is in that area. And I still get to keep in touch with my classmates, at least the few that I hung around with online. And that's pretty good that you can – it kind of ties you together and then spreads you apart. Social media is an interesting thing, but I use it mostly for business, I guess, and to promote other people as well as myself.
Right.
That's the whole reason I got into radio and doing this podcast is to learn about people, to learn what you know. So I'm digging into the brains of the Bennett boys. And I keep saying the Bennett boys like I'm jumbling you two up in together. And I know you do a lot of things together, but I need to separate you individually as well because you are not the sum of the two of you. You are also individuals as well. So, Jack Bennett, other than music, what were your extracurriculars in school?
I didn't really have many. I mean, music is my number one passion, and it has been since about first grade. So that's what I put most of my time into. Good
deal. Good deal. All right. No video games or board games or going out and riding bikes, motorcycles?
I play video games a lot, and on the subject of bikes, I like to go ride bikes with my grandfather down at Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks? I want to ride at Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
That's called a Freudian slip.
Down at Twin Rivers Park.
Okay.
Down by Pinnacle.
Two Rivers Park.
Two Rivers Park.
Rivers Park, and we're still with the twins and the. I get it. The things
it's been a minute since I've been down there.
To Twin Peaks or Two Rivers Park?
Two Rivers Park.
Okay. How about Twin Peaks?
It's been even longer since I've been down there.
Oh, I'm very sad for you. Anyway, moving on. Sam Bennett, any extracurriculars for you besides music?
Well, I mean, pretty similar to Jack. I do all the video games and stuff like that. Just normal stuff like that. But I do have some extracurricular activities that have to do with music. I'm involved with the worship band up at Fellowship Bible Church, and they have youth services called Echo every Wednesday night, and I'm usually the drummer for the worship band pretty much every Wednesday, and we play 2 services. I go there straight from school, get there maybe around 4 o'clock, and go home around 9.
Fantastic. Is that affiliated with Pulaski Academy, or is that a totally separate church?
Well, it is it's a church by itself, but there's plenty of people from PA that go there, and other schools like LRCA, and just lots of different high schools around, and they also have like middle school services and stuff. So it's just a youth service.
Very cool. I like how you cool it up. We go to PA. I keep saying the Pulaski Academy. I have to refer to it as PA. But I want to make sure that the people know exactly what I'm talking about. In these long form interviews, I don't cut anything out. So it's been an interesting way to talk to people, and it's nice to have conversations, because I see a lot of people in their phones all the time, and they don't really talk to each other. And this is what I'm doing. I'm talking to people. I'm getting to talk to people. I don't have to be online and chat with them on their social media. So,
right.
Jack Bennett, you say that you've been interested in music since the first grade. What was the first musical instrument that you touched in first grade, Jack Bennett?
If I remember correctly, it was a Squire Stratocaster that I got. It was my first real guitar that I had.
I have a Squire Strat. I have a purple Squire Strat. I have no idea how to play it. I can do power chords and a little bit of scales. And there was a jazz a doctor that I worked with down in South Florida, and he was trying to teach me a little bit about of the jazz and a little blues chords. But in reality, no, I cannot play it. I have a purple Squire Strat. What color is your Squire Strat?
Mine's like a dark red, but it's got a little bit of shine to it.
Do you still have it?
I do.
Hey, was it part of a kit that comes with the strings and the strap and the amp?
It came with an amp. I don't really remember what else it came with, but it has an interesting backstory to it. I do know that.
Hit me with it.
So really, I'm going to dip into how I got into music here too, because it all kind of ties in with the guitar. But my first real influence was Rick Springfield, and of course that came from my father being a huge fan of his and kind of pushing that music on us. And so used to listen to Rick Springfield a lot as a kid, and we had one of his concert DVDs, and I remember seeing him at the end of the DVD play Jesse's Girl, and it was on some red guitar. I don't actually think it was a Stratocaster, but that's when I got into guitar, and I knew that was my goal, was that I wanted to be able to play the guitar solo on Jesse's Girl, because at the time I thought that's the greatest song ever written.
So you had a good musical education. Is what's happening here. All right. And I'm looking up the guitar that Rick Springfield had. It is a red guitar. It looks like a Fat Boy. I'm trying to figure out exactly what kind it is, but
I think it's a Gretsch. If I'm
okay, yeah, like a Gretsch Big Boy, maybe.
Probably something.
Yeah,
in there.
I'm trying to. Yeah, it says Rick Springfield logo guitar, and they call it the Rose Explosion. So I'm trying to. Oh well, yeah, he indeed did play a red guitar, and I'm very familiar with Jesse's Girl. And good on your dad for bringing you up properly with 80s music. I come from the 80s. I'm here to help. Class of 86 rules, baby. So all right, so he's teaching you a little bit about 80s music, the stuff he grew up with, I guess, because I figure he's probably the same age as me. I'm 50, and I am very familiar with the 80s and the music there. Was he playing that a lot at the house for you?
He was. The two songs that I remember having on loop around that time that weren't Rick Springfield were Heat of the Moment by Asia and Hold On Loosely by 38 Special, which I don't know why those were the two songs that I listened to so much. They just were, but...
It's really hard to tell what you listen to, because then, by the same token, my mother introduced me to music, and I had 8-track tapes, okay? And if you don't know what those are, look them up. I had Stevie Wonder's Superstition, the great, and then the Eagles' Greatest Hits was another 8-track tape, and my third 8-track was Steve Martin, Wild and Crazy Guy. It was a comedy album. So those were the three that influenced me from an early age and got me into music and, well, comedy, I suppose. Just making me laugh. So, all right. So you were influenced by Dad primarily in music, I guess. And
Right.
So in first grade, you were playing guitar already in first grade.
I was.
So, okay, Sam Bennett, what was your first taste of music?
I'd really have to say the same thing. When Jack had his guitar and he was playing along to the concert video of Rick Springfield, I was right there behind him with some drumsticks, beating on pillows and stuff. Eventually, I was given a little first act drum kit, and I didn't take it too seriously at first. I remember getting in trouble for coloring on my drums and stuff like that. I was a little bit too young, but I remember probably about the same age as Jack, or maybe around probably about first grade is when I first started taking lessons and taking it seriously. And I've been playing ever since. I don't take lessons anymore, but I've had numerous different teachers, some good, some bad. And, probably my favorite teacher that I've ever had, his name is Scott Southern. He owns a business called Rock City. And, he...
Where's that?
It's down on University, somewhere in there.
Oh, in Little Rock.
Yeah.
Yes.
Still open?
It is.
Yes, he's
All right.
a good guy, family friend now.
Hey, shout out to Rock City in Little Rock. Look it up. Go get your lessons. So good. All right. So who gave you the sticks, first of all?
I really don't remember. I know my cousin Reed had a drum kit, and he played for a while, and he got to be pretty good. And I, looked up to him. He's much older than I am. And I wanted to play like Reed did. So, that's kind of what I started to try and do. And I think maybe he gave me a pair of sticks or something like that. Eventually, I think my first real kit was a kit of his that he gave to me after he got a new kit. And after that I got an SP kit, and now I've moved on to a Tama kit, which I've had for about 4 or 5 years now.
All right. For all the non-musicians, such as myself, what are all these kits? You mentioned the first act. I think I've seen one of those at Walmart. Is that
Yes.
proper?
Yeah. That it's really a brand of instruments that parents buy their kids to try and test out and make sure they're serious about it before purchasing a real instrument that would be much more expensive.
So very good. So it is a good, viable choice for someone who's just trying to give a taste of music to their children. And this is not sponsored by First Act by any means, but certainly I'm all for it. If you don't have the dough to just be blowing on $500 drum kits and $1,000 guitars, go with the first act. See if they have an aptitude for it or even a desire, and see where it goes from there. So obviously you had an aptitude, both of you, Jack Bennett and Sam Bennett, and a desire, and you went from there. So Jack Bennett, do you still play the Squire Strat, and have you gotten any more guitars since then?
Yeah, I still play the Squire every now and then. I'll bust it out at a show whenever I need to, but we just recently added Jesse's Girl to our set list. And so I started playing that guitar for that song specifically. And then the interesting thing about the guitar, I started to say earlier, it kind of came full circle. A few years ago, Rick Springfield did acoustic show at UCA, which is where I go to college now.
Excellent.
And we had a meet and greet package. So I took that guitar with me and got him to sign it. So now I have the guitar that was inspired by Rick Springfield, which is now signed by Rick Springfield.
You now I got to stop. Color me jealous. You met Dr. Noah Drake.
Yes, we did.
That is excellent and excellent. So good. Was he still playing the red guitar?
No, he wasn't.
Okay.
It was more of a stripped down show.
All right. Oh yeah. It says Rick Springfield's stripped down live show. Oh, okay. It's his stripped down tour, but he'll always remember Jesse's girl.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm getting it. This is good. All right, and so Jack, you first started playing the Squire. Did you take any lessons?
I did for a while. I had 2 different guitar teachers, and after a little bit, I started noticing that I was going into these lessons and telling my guitar teacher that I'd want to learn one song, and then he'd pull it up on YouTube and listen to it, and they'd pull up the tabs and whatnot, and then I'd start picking out the song while he had it up on YouTube, and he was like, well, if you can do that, then why are you taking lessons? And over time, I kind of picked up that I had an ear for it, so now I just play by ear, and if it's something that's a little too complex for me to pick up, or say like a really recognizable guitar solo, then I'll look up how to actually play it and make sure that I'm doing it right. But for the most part, I can just hear it and pick it up, and after playing the song a couple times through.
Well, your guitar teacher seems like a very nice guy, but he did talk himself out of a job. So, do you remember what YouTube videos you were using?
I don't really. At the time that I was taking lessons, I remember with my first guitar teacher, I went in week after week, and I was like, all right, Rick Springfield this, Rick Springfield that. And then over time, my musical taste started changing, and gradually it evolved to an obsession with Aerosmith. Okay. So once I got into Aerosmith, that kind of opened up the door for some of the more, I guess, 70s hits, and
all right.
So that's what I'm with right now.
So besides guitar, are there any other instruments that you play, Jack Bennett?
I mean, I do sing, which wasn't really by choice, but I do it now, and I actually enjoy doing it now. I can play bass, which ties in with guitar. I can pick up keyboard every now and then. If I'm recording and need some keys, then I'll do that. And then Sam will argue with me on this. I like to think that I can play the drums, but okay. Sam does not think that I can.
Anybody with a couple of hands and a desk can play drums, right, Sam?
Sure.
Oh, wow, he agreed. You should have been totally against me on that one. I expected a firm stance on the opposite of that statement. So, yeah, okay. So drums, Sam Bennett. You picked them up at an early age. It makes sense that somebody gave them to you, and your parents didn't buy you the drum kit. At least not right off. I haven't gotten into that yet, because drums are an item that typically people give to parents that they don't like.
Yeah, it really paid off because I eventually got to start playing with Jack. We kind of put that together, and though the band started in 2016, we'd been playing together for years before that, and school talent shows and shows that our lesson center would put together and stuff like that. And we'd always liked the idea of a band, but it never really took off, or we never really put that much effort into it. And then our school had a class of 1986 reunion.
86 rules, baby.
Yeah. And basically they knew that we had played, and they asked our mom, who is a teacher there, if we'd be interested in playing, and if we had a band, and at the time we didn't. And that's really how Bad Habit started, only for that gig. And we've been together ever since. So that's that's how that happened.
So, all right. So the two of you were playing together. When did the other members join? Well, do I want to get into that first? Yeah. When did the other members join in?
You take that.
Okay.
This is Jack. Is that Jack Bennett?
This is Jack.
Okay.
So, like he was talking about, they hired us for this 86 reunion, and we just immediately accepted it, not having a band at the time. But we were like, sure, we'll do something. Like Sam said, we had always kind of wanted to put together a band. We just, in this day and age, it's hard to find people that have the same music taste that we do.
Okay.
And we got lucky enough to where one of my best friends that I'd known for most of my life, he had recently started playing guitar, and I was like, look, we need a bass player.
Who was this?
This was Ryan Burgess.
Okay.
And I was like, look, we need a bass player. This may be a one-time thing, or it may turn into something else. We don't really know yet, but we got hired. It's easy money. Would you want to do it? And he said, sure. So our first show with him was actually a talent show at our school. And
what year was this?
Later, say again?
What year was this, or what grade was this for you, I guess, Jack?
This was 10th grade for me. So
maybe
3 years ago?
I would have been in 7th grade.
7th grade. Okay, so 3 years. Okay, there you go. That makes sense.
But yeah, so we grabbed him and we did the talent show, and then we still needed a singer. And my dad had been pushing me to take the mic, and I really did not want to. So there was a girl at our school named Molly Kate Fuller that was a really good singer. And so my mom was like, okay, here's her number. Why don't you text her and see if it's something she'd be interested in? So I did, and we started practicing, and we did that 86 reunion, and it went over really well. And then from that, people kind of started knowing our name, and that was where a lot of our gigs came from at first.
Very cool. So you did the whole class of 86 reunion. How many hours was that?
3 hours.
You had 3 hours of music available at this point?
I'm sure we repeated a few songs, but we had a pretty good master list at that point.
And, I'm sorry, what year was this?
Yeah, this would have been 2016.
2016, and you were in 10th grade, and you already had, okay, there you could play about 15 songs an hour, so maybe about 40 songs that you were able to play?
Yeah, around that point.
That is super. That is super. Oh man, yeah. And then and you had the four piece band at this point?
We do. We're currently on our fourth lineup of the band, but we started with that lineup, and then Molly Kate left, and then we got another girl singer, and at that point, Ryan was getting a little bit more into guitar, and he was talking about how if we were going to continue to do this, then he wanted to play guitar and wanted me to find another bass player.
Oh.
So I found another bass player, and we went on for a five piece for a little bit, and then that singer left, and at that point I took the mic. Wow. And the four of us that remained went from November of 2017 till summer 2018. And at that point, we picked up Zach and Caleb, and we've been doing that lineup for about a year now.
Wow. So any formal singing training, Jack Bennett?
Not really. Every now and then, my dad will come up and play his keyboard while I'm playing guitar, and he'll want me to sing along with him and harmonize and stuff. So, I mean, that's really the only exposure I ever had to it, unless I was just singing in my car.
I'm a bad boy. I didn't even know your dad played keyboard, really. So, how long has he been playing keyboard?
This is Sam.
Sam.
Yeah, Dad has been playing, since probably before high school. He had a number of bands throughout high school and college. And with, all the knowledge he took away from that, he kind of passed on to us, and he's been a really good mentor, and just gig information, stuff that we should have ready, song suggestions and stuff like that. So, he's been really helpful with that. But he's been playing keyboard, for a really long time. And, with that, with all the bands he was in, he picked up all this great music and passed that on to us.
So it's leading me to believe that it's genetic. It is hereditary.
It is.
Music is in the blood. And Mom, does she sing? Does she
does not.
play anything?
She does not. She's got a lot of artistic qualities, and she's really good at helping us.
How does she help you?
She's got a lot of organizational skills, so she kind of keeps us in check. Like Sam said, she'll help our dad with song suggestions and kind of leading us in the right direction. And
that is excellent.
She basically functions as our manager at this point.
Okay, all right. Well, definitely that's something that's very needed, organizational skills. Because a lot of musicians and a lot of creative people, I find, well, scatterbrained a good term, because you're thinking about so many things at the same time. To run the business part of it is very difficult. And it's good to have Mom in the corner, a manager in the corner. So anybody who's going full force into music, as I guess you are, should have management. Am I correct in this?
Yes, sir. Or, yes, Dan. Sorry.
Hey, I got a Dan on that one. Yeah. All right. All right. So good. All right, Sam Bennett, let's get back into you. You have your group of friends in school, and you're just hanging out, doing all kinds of things. Did we go over extracurriculars for you with your what do you like to do with your boys?
We like to go eat all the time, just hang out at each other's houses. We'll do a lot of stuff, when it comes to, just going to like school functions like games and stuff like that. And other than that, just going to the movies, all that sort of stuff, just regular things like that.
All right. What are the games of choice? What are the activities of choice when you go to each other's houses and hang out? Stuff is not a good thing. Expound.
Well, we play a lot of Xbox.
Xbox. What's the game of choice?
It's kind of different for a lot of us. We play a lot of, we used to play a lot of Fortnite, but that's kind of died down.
Oh.
Yeah, we play a lot of Call of Duty and just stuff like that.
Yeah, Xbox is just about the only game system that's not sitting right here in front of me. I have I have PS4, PS3, Switch. I have a Nintendo knockoff with like 600 games on it. I have a Wii U. So, yeah, Xbox is the only one I don't have. So,
yeah.
All right. So, Master Jack, you're hanging out with your boys. What do you like to do?
I'm in a fraternity up at UCA. So.
What? What's the frat?
Sigma Nu.
What does Sigma Nu do?
Well, one of our members who actually just graduated tried to get us to have board game night every now and then. I don't know how many of those we actually had, but we did pretty standard things. We'd go to Slim Chickens every Tuesday night before our chapter meetings. We'd go eat. Those of us that lived in the house would play Xbox with each other, which was great because we could hear each other screaming through the walls, and then again as it came through the TV. But yeah, just kind of stuff like that. And we go out to the games, do co-rec stuff, just anything like that.
So, going to college, what's the advantage of being in a fraternity?
I think it really helped me to kind of get, I guess, a wider network of people that I was involved with, because as soon as I moved in, I was like, okay, what am I doing? I don't know anybody here. Where do I go? And I knew going in to college that I wanted to get involved with fraternity. It was just kind of finding the right one. And I was lucky enough and found a really good group of guys that had a lot of common interests that I do. And we just kind of meshed well together, and they've helped me through a lot.
So the Brothers of Sigma Nu, are they musicians as well, or from all walks of life?
I've been told that my pledge class has been the most diverse group that they've taken in a while, in the sense that we have so many interests that any of us could do anything whenever somebody needed us to. Like, we have musicians, athletes, a lot of very smart people, anything that you can think of.
All right. Sam Bennett, what grade are you in now?
I'm currently a sophomore, but, we're wrapping up school now, so I'll be a junior.
All right. Good. Are you doing good in school?
For the most part, has its ups and downs, good classes and bad classes, but I'd say I do pretty well.
What's your best subject?
I really enjoy history. Just getting to learn more stories and stuff than, all these big equations that have nothing to do with anything. I just find that a little bit more interesting.
Now, history is very important. You learn from the mistakes of others because you can't live long enough to make them all yourself.
Yes, sir.
That's
Dan.
Hey, yes, Dan.
We're working on it.
Nah, no worries, no worries. You can even say Keys, what have you. But yes, I make sure that I say Jack Bennett and Sam Bennett. That way the people know who they're listening to on the What Make You Famous podcast. Isn't that pretty cool? See?
There is.
And they get to know you. And that's what it is. We're getting to know you, the Bennett brothers, the Bennett boys. What was Sam, what was your nickname growing up?
I had a wide variety of nicknames. Some from my parents, some from my brother that I won't repeat.
I want you to repeat every single one of them except for the naughty ones.
I don't even remember that. I was given a lot, play on my name, like Sambo and stuff like that. Nothing too fancy.
I will take over on
That's not a long list. That you said there was a long list. I have some time here.
I'm going to talk about it since he doesn't want to.
Do it, Jack Bennett. Tell him, and then maybe I'll have Sam tell about your nicknames. Go, Jack.
The main one was Goo, and all of our
got to be a story there.
I don't really know the story. I just know that we started calling him Goo, and at some point that evolved into Goo St. John, which I don't know where that came from either.
That sounds like an 80s thing. I think there was a St. John, St. Elmo. Yeah, okay, I get it. So who said Goo? Who named him Goo?
Well, since Jack, forced me into this, I guess I'll have to tell the story. It's nothing major. When I was a baby, I had some eye issues.
Okay.
That I hold on.
I'm enjoying this so far, Sam Bennett. And I see on your Facebook page you have a nice family pic. So I'm getting to see Mom, Dad, and the two bros right there. So, Goo, tell about you, Goo.
I was a baby and I had some eye issues, and basically it wasn't anything major. But my eyes would get, for lack of better words, gooey.
Okay.
And my parents of course had that fixed and everything. But that kind of just stuck. And different variations, like Jack said, like Goose St. John and stuff like that, have kind of popped up over the years.
So now we call him Goose.
Okay, all right, I get it. Okay, but that would make sense for other people, but it's still an inside joke for you. And I know it's just the two of you, or it's just the three of us together. Nobody else is listening. No millions of people are listening potentially to this podcast. So yes, so when they call you Goose, you'll know it was really goo.
Yep.
All right.
Now that's out.
And I feel bad that you were picked on as a child, that you were picked on and bullied and called goo. No, nicknames
Seriously.
are a great thing. Great people. Any other cool nicknames?
Not really.
All right. That's not a long list. We went from goo to goose. That was and Sambo.
Jack and my dad called me Johnny Holiday a lot.
Johnny Holiday.
I don't really know the story behind that. If Jack does, I'll let him elaborate. But I really don't.
I got Monkey and Birdie from my mom. So there's mine.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go over Jack Bennett's nicknames.
I didn't really have any.
I've got a few.
Hey, Sam's got a few.
Just kidding.
I didn't really have any. I've really just been called Jay for most of my life.
Come on, Jack.
At some point,
you got two All-American names. They lend themselves to nicknames. Black Jack, Jack of Spades. Jack. Yeah, definitely.
Should have been some of that, but no. I think the most creative mine ever was Jackie Brown.
Jackie Brown. There you go.
I'm pretty sure stemmed from my parents' liking of Jackson Brown's music.
Sure. And there's a Jackie Brown movie, but that might have come a little later than that. So yeah, Jackie B, Sam B. Okay, nicknames. Cool. All right. So the social life. You say, Sam, you go to any functions at school? Are you good in the social gatherings, or are you more of a one-on-one?
I'd say so. School dances and stuff like that. It's always fun to go do that stuff. Other than that, not really.
Okay.
Just hanging out with the guys outside school.
And Pulaski Academy is a co-ed?
Yes.
So would you consider yourself, you take out the ladies?
I'd like to say that. I don't know who else would, but
well, let's just say, do you go to the school dances by yourself, or do you go with a special lady?
Yeah, I'll always have a date.
Oh, that's nice. And are you all class? Do you get all dressed up and?
Yes, the first few dates we'd have to do, it wouldn't be anything formal. It would just be, collared shirts and stuff like that. But now it's moved on to, formal, suits and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Sometimes it's good to get dressed up. I do a lot of weddings on the weekends, on Saturdays in particular. And, when the people ask me, I always ask, hey, how would you like me to dress? Whatever, just some jeans and a T-shirt. No. This is a wedding. You dress up, feel the occasion. It gets you in character, really. And if you're going to a formal dance, hey, get in character. Now, I know, all right, it might be very old-fashioned because, back in the 50s, you watch some of these old black and white movies and TV shows, and you'll see when the husband comes home, he's always in a dress with a hat on, and he comes home to a wife that's all dressed up with her makeup on, and I don't know. It maybe that has definitely fallen out of fashion, but there are times when, hey, it's good to get dressed up.
Yep.
So, all right, Jack, I already know you're a frat guy. Would you say frat boy or frat guy? Frat brother?
More frat guy.
Frat guy? Okay. Now, in school, did you go to all the school dances?
I went to most of them. I went to all the formals, and I went to one of my proms.
One of your proms? I thought there was only one prom at senior. Maybe it's just me.
We had a junior and senior prom.
Oh, dig it. So which prom did you go to?
I think my junior prom.
You didn't go to the senior prom?
No.
Oh. All right. And did you always have a date?
I did.
Yeah. All right. So these Bennett boys, watch out, ladies. Okay. All right. We're going to where you are now. Okay. Where you're from is all right. I guess Jack, you came from Nashville technically, but you got here at 2 years old, so you don't even remember growing up in Nashville.
Not really.
So, pretty much you're Little Rock boys. You grew up in Little Rock. You went to Pulaski Academy, good school, had some good interactions there. You found music at an early age. Sam Bennett on the drums with his first act drum kit, and then Jack Bennett on the guitar with his Squire Strat, red in color, after his hero Rick Springfield. So, I mean, this is me going over all the notes, the highlights in my head. And it comes to now. You started your band in 2016, and you played class of 86. I guess that would be, 30 years. Uh-oh, I'm old. I'm old. I did my 10th and my 20th reunion. I DJ'd both of those parties, and that was pretty fun. But awesome. I was already living here, and I got here to Arkansas in 2009. So by the time 2016 rolled around, I couldn't make it all the way back to Fort Lauderdale to do my 30th reunion. But I did hear a lot about it, and they were very sad that I couldn't DJ that party. So you played there. Your big first event was class of 1986, and you played about 40 songs.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah. And where did you go from there? Let's move on with now. This is the official lineup as it was of Bad Habit. Were you called Bad Habit at that time?
We were. Once that version.
How did you get that name, Bad Habit? First off,
it's a good story.
Please.
So I think we were in San Francisco on our spring break. I think it was it was probably 2016, if that's when we started. And we walked past this bar, I'm pretty sure, that was called Dirty Habit or Dirty Habits. And we were like, wow, that'd be a cool band name. Uh-huh. And then I was like, all right, well, let's just let that be the band name then. And my mom was like, no, y'all are in high school. You can't call a high school band Dirty Habits.
Okay.
So we were like, all right, well, Bad Habit works, I guess. So
I don't know how Bad Habit is. Well, maybe that's a step down.
Yeah.
From Dirty Habit. So that's cool. That's a cool story. How was San Francisco to you? At about that age, I guess around 16, I took a family trip to San Francisco myself. So
yeah.
What was your impression of San Francisco?
It was pretty crazy.
How so?
Just one of my favorite memories of that trip was we were taking an Uber to some restaurant, and the guy was talking to my dad in the front seat, and then he looks to his left, and there's this woman standing at the door or at the window, and she's knocking on it. And I don't remember what she said, but he like barely rolled down the window to where he could hear her. And the only thing that I remember that she said was, "Janet Jackson loves you, baby." And she said it in like this very like raspy voice, and we just laugh about it all the time. Like, that's the only thing I remember about San Francisco.
So you suspect there was a proposition made, but no confirmation.
She was probably asking for money. She was. And then somehow Janet Jackson approving us means that we can give our money.
Good deal. All right, Sam Bennett, were you on that trip too?
Yes, I was.
And what was your favorite memory of San Francisco?
We did a lot of touristy stuff, we did like Alcatraz. And
you did Alcatraz?
Yes, that was very cool. Very
cool. What else?
We had to make a stop by the Full House house.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did they have a museum down there called the Walt Disney Family Museum, which has a lot of cool, art, not artifacts, but just stuff from the company's history and stuff. So that was pretty cool to see all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty far away from Anaheim. Maybe hours away from Anaheim, which is where Disneyland is. So that's pretty cool that there was a Disney museum in San Francisco. I think I did. I walked the boardwalk, went to Chinatown, had some Chinese food there. Didn't get to Alcatraz, Coit Tower, Presidio, walked around quite a bit. I stood in position for about 10 minutes with my hand out, just standing in front of a building. I can't remember, and maybe it was a restaurant. And I was wearing a black and red striped, vertical stripes up and down. And so I kind of looked like a performer of some kind. But I remember there was a lot of those guys that were just standing in position, looking like mannequins. So I said, let me try something. And I stood there for about 10 minutes until somebody put a quarter in my hand. And I said, all right, mission accomplished. Done.
Seriously. Yeah, easy money.
Yeah. So I got my quarter, and I don't remember what I spent it on. But, hey, that was mission accomplished. I wanted to see what would happen if I did that. So cool. San Francisco. Any other family trips that you all went together on?
Well, as a matter of fact, we've got a pretty big one coming up.
No, I want to hear about the past trips.
We venture over to Orlando pretty frequently and do all the parks and stuff like that, and that's always fun.
Dig it. Being from South Florida, I definitely went to Disney World quite a bit, and I lived in Orlando for about a year, so that was kind of fun. But yeah, all right. So what's your favorite park over there?
Pretty much, probably the Magic Kingdom, probably just because it's got the most stuff.
It does have the most stuff. It does. And Sam Bennett, how about you?
Oh, that was Sam.
Oh, that was you. Okay, Jack Bennett, how about you?
I'm more of the Universal fan personally.
Okay, all right. What's your favorite ride at Universal, Jack Bennett?
Oh, I like the Hollywood Rip Ride rocket roller coaster.
Dig it. So you're a roller coaster guy. Okay.
I'm a very big I'm the only roller coaster person in my family.
No way. All right. I mean, I don't know if I like them, but I get on them every time. You know, it's like I fear it. I know I'm going to be sick to my stomach, but I got to get on it. Got to do it. And maybe my favorite ride would be the merry-go-round and the bumper cars. and maybe, but I always get on the Himalaya and I always get on the roller coaster no matter where it's at. And yeah. So what's your favorite ride, Sam Bennett?
At Universal?
Yeah, go ahead with Universal.
I really like the Spider-Man ride. And then Jimmy Fallon actually has a simulator attraction at Universal, which is pretty cool.
Pretty cool. All right, so we got family trips. What are we doing? All right, since 2016, have you played any gigs of note? Any place special?
This will be Jack answering this question.
Yes, Jack Bennett. Go.
I mean, we kind of play around every now and then. We prefer playing a lot of private events just because that's a lot of fun, but at the same time, it's also really fun to play in public.
What kind of private events do you play? Like weddings or what?
The goal is to get to weddings. We haven't quite hit that yet, but we play a lot of corporate events. We played some graduation stuff.
Wedding showers,
yeah.
birthday parties,
baby showers, stuff like that.
I like that. A good party band. It's nice, and hey, I'm a DJ. I could say, oh yeah, DJ is better. No, there's advantage to both. There's nothing like a live band because as someone who, all right, I have a keyboard. I have a very professional keyboard in my house. It's a big piano. I have harmonica. I have 3 guitars. I cannot play them. And I feel every time I go see someone perform live, I feel it. I can see it. And the work that you put into building your craft, Sam on the drums and Jack on the guitar and the bassist and the singer and the keyboards. Oh my goodness, just to watch them all. And that they've worked real hard just to put on a show. And, there's really nothing that compares to it. I can't really put it into words, which is really bad for a guy who claims to be a broadcaster. Words hard.
Right.
So, all right, but yes, you've been working hard, and are you up past 40 songs now, or what are you primarily playing, song wise?
I think right now we are at we're either at 60 or 70 songs. I don't know which.
Hey, 60 is at least 4 hours of solid music. You can get about
Right.
15 songs an hour. Now, you can always stretch them out with riffs and jamming a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, that's a good repertoire. You could play a good sized party, a wedding, in fact, with that much music in your pocket.
Right.
So since 2016, like I said, have there been any notable places that you've played? Okay, maybe not the private ones, but certainly the public ones. Have you played any notable places publicly?
Our two biggest places that we play are Stickies in Little Rock, and then Thurston Howell in Little Rock as well.
Stickies and Thurston Howell. I've been by Thurston Howell, but I've been in Stickies, and I know Stickies is a really great venue. Tell me more about Thurston Howell. 'Cause I've heard good things.
Thurston Howell we love. They were the first place that actually let us play in public, and we had to do a sort of audition where we opened for another band that we're friends with.
Do you remember what the band was?
Liquid Kitty.
Liquid Kitty. Okay, I've heard of them, but I haven't had the pleasure of watching them play. Do you remember
They play the same type of music that we do. This would have been, I want to say, summer of 2017. Yeah.
Summer of 2017. You get your first breakout into the public. See, for Liquid Kitty, they probably had a following. Did you have a following at this time? How many people came out for you?
I'm not really sure how many people it was. I remember, like I said, this was our first time playing in public, so people could actually, come and see us.
Yeah.
And, I want to say we started at 7:00, and from what I remember, we had all the tables filled. We had basically all the floor space filled, and there was a line out the door. So
yeah. How did you promote this show?
I think we just put it all over Facebook. We were like, here's the first time that you can come see Bad Habit. We'd love to have all our family and friends out. So
yeah. Did mom and dad help out with that as well?
Oh yeah, they did.
They did. So they've been really supportive of you as being musicians then.
They have. All of our own parents have been really supportive, and we owe it all to them.
Hey, that's very important, because a lot of times you'll find artists with the word starving stuck in front of it.
Right.
And to see your children try to reach for this, many will try, but few will succeed. And it seems like you're heading on the right path. You're out there. You've put yourself out there. Thurston Howell, the summer of 2017, but before that, you did that class of '86. I'm guessing there was quite a few people at that show as well, right?
There was.
Yeah, and you had a female singer at that point, right?
Right.
Okay, and then by Thurston Howell, had you taken over the vocals, or did you have another singer?
At this point, we had our second female singer.
Okay. Who was that?
Annika Landers.
Annika Landers. Okay. And how long did she stay with you?
About a year or so.
Okay. All right.
But she got with us, and then we played Thurston Howell that time, and then at that point, like I said, we had only played 45 minutes, so we played a good 10 songs or so.
Yeah,
and
not too shabby.
And then we had to build up our repertoire and our master list before we could come back to Thurston Howell, because it's a 3.5-hour gig. At least that's how long they hire you for.
Wowie.
And so we needed a pretty good list of songs, and unfortunately things just didn't work out, and she left the band a couple weeks before we had our first headlining gig at Thurston Howell, and I was like, well, I guess I'll sing now. Okay. And at that point, I had already kind of been weaving in some songs that I would sing at the shows. So where we would play 30 songs total. I would sing 3 or 4 of the 30.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of getting my feet wet and starting to get comfortable with it. But at the point where we had that first headlining show at Thurston Hell, I was like, okay, I got to sing now. So I learned as many of the songs that we had played at that point as I could, which was nowhere near as many as we had, but did what I could with what I had, and we played that show, and it went over really well, and we've been playing there constantly ever since.
Well, that's kind of an interesting animal. You play lead guitar and you sing.
It's very difficult, but
I imagine so. I know Zachary is on the rhythm part of the guitar. Do you ever trade off leads?
we do.
Okay.
We both have our individual songs, and I think, like he said last night, he's got his songs that he sings, and I've got mine, and then Caleb sings a couple songs here and there as well. So we've got a pretty equally divided workload amongst all of us.
Now, Caleb's bass?
Yes.
Okay. Any keyboards in this?
No, I'll let Sam talk now.
Yes. Sam, the drummer, beating the
we'd love
skins.
to have. Say again.
Sam Bennett, the drummer, beating the skins.
Yeah. We'd love to have a keyboard player because it would open up a much wider range of songs that we could do. There are plenty of songs that we'd love to play, or people who have requested that, we're just simply just not able to do because they'll have these iconic keyboard or piano riffs and stuff that we're just not able to pull off really.
Very good.
But we try and keep everything. Say what?
So you're open to having a keyboardist come in. Have you been looking around for that?
I think it's a little too late. We play at least once a month. And we're booked up currently not September. October is furthest we have booked up. So really, there's just not any time to have a newcomer come in and learn all the material and add new material with that guy, and it's just not likely to happen anytime soon. But we're doing quite well with what we've got.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've heard you, and I can speak firsthand that you're very good. And that was only a half an hour little performance that you did at Black Earth Art Studios.
Yes, that was an interesting performance. We've recently started to do a few more acoustic sets. I'd say our first acoustic set was not really by accident, but we were kind of forced to do it. We were doing an outside gig at Pleasant Ridge Shopping Center.
Okay.
It was a Christmas party for a few of the businesses, and it was outside, and it had started to rain, and we knew that it was probably gonna rain, but we weren't for sure. So we brought all of the equipment that we would have for a normal gig, and then we brought some acoustic gear as well. I just brought like a set of bongos and a cajon, and they all brought their acoustic guitars, and it turned out that it was going to rain, and so we did our first acoustic set inside the store, and we've started to do a few more since then, one being Black Earth Art Studio.
You're very smart to have a backup plan, and that was very, very intelligent on your part. Do you usually carry a backup plan?
We try and keep an eye on the weather when it comes to outside gigs. But, with it being Arkansas and Arkansas weather being so unpredictable, it's hard to, really know. But I'd say that we've had a few gigs that we've, have gotten rained out. We played a gig called Carnival. It was a Polish food festival. And we were like the headliner for the night, and they had this stage set up for us, and luckily they had a tent over it. And we had started to play, I think it was like a 2 to 3 hour gig that we were supposed to do. we got maybe 10 to 15 minutes into the set when it just started pouring. And it was insane. We had, we were in the middle of a song when, our dad and Zach's dad were, pushing water off the stage with, brooms and stuff, just trying to get it away from our equipment. And eventually we just said, we're sorry. We understand if you don't want to pay us, but, we can't risk getting our equipment ruined. So we had to kind of abandon that gig halfway, but it ended up being good, and they're hiring us back for this year. So
that's great. Maybe they'll have a better tent, a pavilion, perhaps.
We're hoping so.
I did a show last Saturday night, a wedding, all the way up in Mountain Home, and it was raining cats and dogs up there. And unfortunately, the tent I was in was downhill from train tracks on the way down to the White River. So yeah,
that's dang.
But thankfully, I had my equipment set up on the dance floor, but I was standing in mud.
Yeah, that's insane.
So it's the life of an entertainer. The show must go on, and it looks like you press through where possible. You can always break down to an acoustic set, and that's very versatile. That's good. So the people out there need to hire you, and if need be, hey, we can go acoustic. You're good. You got guitars and a cajon. That's a box, like a Spanish. Tell more. What is a cajon?
It's basically just a wooden box that you're able to sit on, and you just beat the front of it, and it gives it like a snare sound. But it kind of it's more of a combination of like a snare and a shaker kind of sound that you can kind of carry a song with. And we'll just use a mic. It's got a hole in the back where the sound comes out, and we'll just put the mic into the hole to make it louder, and so it can compete with the other instruments that are turned up pretty loud, and because the cajon itself is not that loud. And it's just good to have that backup plan.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Sam Bennett, the percussion of the band, and then I have Jack Bennett, the guitarist and lead singer. I guess it was forced upon you. You are the lead singer now, the front man.
Right.
So primarily this was your incarnation, your band, and you've added members along the way. And now, okay, I guess we can go over who the current membership is, the current incarnation of Bad Habit. Who are the members right now besides Jack Bennett, lead singer, lead guitar, and Sam Bennett, percussion?
On guitar and vocals, whether that be backing vocals or lead vocals, we got Zachary Smith, who you talked to last night. And
well, you can tell people who Zachary Smith is. This is a whole nother podcast.
Zach Smith, he's a year younger than me, and he just recently graduated from Catholic High. But the story there, I guess first I'll introduce the other guy, and then I'll tell how Zach got in, because it kind of goes in that order.
Okay, yeah.
But basically what had happened was when the last version of the band split up and Ryan was going off to college, and Matthew Thornton, who was our bass player at that time, wanted to put together his own thing and leave Bad Habit. I had a friend at the time who introduced me to this guy named Caleb Hatley, who I had known before but never really met. And we hit off right off the bat because we both shared a very strong interest in Def Leppard.
I like
and so when he took out his phone, I noticed his wallpaper was the Pyromania album, and I was like, all right, this dude's like my best friend now.
Yeah. Did we just become best friends?
Yeah. But we talked, and I knew he played guitar. It was kind of the same situation as it was with Ryan, where Caleb takes guitar lessons, but he plays bass too. So he texted me one day, and he was like, if you ever need a guitar player or a bass player, I'm your guy. And I was like, well, we need a bass player. So he came over to our house, and then Caleb, Sam, and I just started jamming every now and then. And I want to say we had a good 15 songs that the three of us could pull off, but we kind of hit a wall where we realized, there's only so much you can do with a three-piece, especially when the guitar player is also singing. So that kind of limits what I can do melodically.
Well, I must say, I do admire Caleb's taste in eyewear. I, too, wear the goggles a lot.
We love him.
I'm sure he loved for you to say that.
and I had, I guess, what was it? Kurt Cobain was the originator of those goggles. Yeah. And then who was it? Moochie? Oh, one of the rappers took it over.
Beats me. But anyway, so yeah, we picked at Caleb, and we're like, okay, we need a fourth member now if we're gonna go anywhere with this. So we kind of looked at our options, and like you asked about earlier, we sat down and talked, and we were like, okay, we can either go with a guitarist or we can go with a keyboardist.
Right.
But my number one thing, and somewhere that we had struggled in the past, was that with the exception of me, nobody else in the band could really sing. So,
or they wouldn't sing.
Yeah, Sam refuses to
Come
sing.
on, Sam, you can go Phil Collins on it.
Oh, I'd love to do that. And Phil Collins is, one of my idols.
And he lives in Miami now.
Yeah, it's not going to work out.
Oh,
it's not that I can't. It's just that I it's not that I don't have the ability to sing. It's just that I don't have the ability to sing in public or in front of my brother and father.
I'm going to have you step over to one of my karaoke shows and beg to differ.
He is a really good singer. From what I've never actually heard him sing on his own, but one of our favorite movies is That Thing You Do. And
yeah.
I was listening to that song in my car one day, and he'll sit there with his headphones in his ears like he's not listening, but instead of me actually singing along with the song like I normally do, I was just listening to it, and I hear Sam humming the harmony, and I was like, dude, why don't you do this in shows? Like, that would make it so much better.
Yeah, you can definitely be Shades.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It may eventually, if I have to, or if I ever feel that I want to, I'll certainly do it. But right now, Zach and Caleb do a top-notch job at nailing the harmonies and stuff like that, and I'll leave it to them. I've got a pretty busy job to do myself.
All right, no pressure. But I expect one in the air tonight within the next year or two.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
I'd love
it. So, all right, go forward with the adding of the newest member.
So yeah, we said we can either go with another guitarist or we can go with the keyboardist, but the number one thing that I wanted was somebody else that could sing. So we just were kind of at a standstill for a little bit, and Caleb texted me one night, and he was like, hey, I've got this guitar player that I saw at a jazz band show one night, and he's really good, so I'm going to put us all in a group text. And I was at dinner, and I just looked at my phone. I was like, whoa, okay. So he puts us all in a text, and the guy introduced himself as Zach Smith, and so we kind of talked, and I sent him the list of stuff that we had so far, and we were like, okay, well, let's have a practice at some point this night and just kind of, see how things go. And I went and met him the next day at Guitar Center, and we just sat in the acoustic room and played a bunch of songs, and we didn't really sing anything, but we sat there, and I think the moment that I realized that he was the guy that I wanted on my right side was we were sitting there playing the intro to, what's it called, Love Song by Tesla.
Yeah.
And he started playing it, I started playing it, and then he started doing the harmony on the acoustic, and I was like, okay, this is a good match right here. So he came over a week later, and the four of us just kind of jammed in our studio, and we decided it was a good fit. And I think that weekend I emailed Chris King at Stickies, and I was like, okay, here's what we have. And we had played at Stickies before with the previous lineup, but I emailed Chris and I was like, okay, we're back together, and here's what we're going to do. And so he put us on the calendar, and we played our first show and went over really well.
You know, it's good that you met up over at Guitar Center, and once again, this is not sponsored by Guitar Center, but I've spent money in quite a few Guitar Centers all over the country, really, and it's a great place to meet musicians and to meet up with people that enjoy music. You know, this music store, and there's Palmer Music in Conway, and I know Ryan Hinman, he works over at Palmer as well, and it's another good place to meet up with musicians. So yeah, it was a good call that you met up at Guitar Center, and you were able to play some of the instruments that they have there on display together, and
right.
And it felt good. All right. So do you have a practice space that you use quite often, or you have one all set up?
Well, yeah, we call it the studio. It's basically when we bought the house that we're currently living in, we noticed that it had a very large room that I guess had been previously used as an office. But I mean, it's a very large room. So yeah. we set up the drum kit, and I set up my amps in one corner, and I have another amp that I let whoever our guitarist was, which is now Zach, use in the other corner, just so he doesn't have to haul all his stuff over to our house every weekend for practice.
Hey, it sounds like a studio to me. This is great. And your mom and dad are cool with this.
They are.
That is fantastic. Mommies and daddies, support your children, and no matter what they do, let them fall, let them rise, you know, and you'll reap the rewards. You're going to have good kids when they can expound on themselves creatively, and you know, even if they're mathematicians or my work in life, I want to be a dishwasher. Okay, that's fine too. So excellent. So speaking of, have you had any Joe jobs while you're on your way to musical fame?
We have not. This has kind of been our mainstay.
What? You haven't had a job at a fast food, anything?
Mm-mm.
This is great. You went in full force, and I'm very impressed by this. So,
that's one of the things we love about it. I mean, money's certainly not the reason that we do it. It's just kind of like the icing on the cake, or whatever the expression is. But I mean, we get paid very well for what we do, but at the same time, it's, you know, something that we enjoy doing. And that's a quote that I don't know who originally said it, but my dad tells it to me all the time. And the quote is, "Do what you love and you never work a day in your life."
I like that.
And I mean, we're doing what we love, and yeah, we're getting paid for it. So technically it is our job, but the passion that we have for it and how much we actually love what we're doing, you know, it doesn't feel like work at all. We get up on the stage and set up, and for the next 3 hours or however long we're playing, we're on that stage playing for people who want to be there listening to us, and it's just something completely different.
No, I like that a lot. And yeah, you hit the nail on the head when you said that well, and I tell people quite often, you know, when they say, "Hey, you're a DJ, you get paid pretty good, don't you?" I said, "Well, yeah, the money's good, but the work's not steady, and you got to keep hustling." And thankfully, you got Mom in the corner. Seems like she hustles for you. Does she try to get you gigs, or is that primarily your job, Jack Bennett and Sam Bennett?
Gigs kind of come in from everywhere. You know, people approach us, or you know, certain members of the band get gigs, or their family members. But I'd say 90% of the gigs that we pull in are booked by our mom. She's constantly, you know, calling places or emailing places or promoting the band on our Facebook or our website, and just really working hard to get us as many gigs in that we can, and that's why we're currently booked up to October and playing at least once a month.
That is fantastic. Sounds like you have gigs rolling in. You have a good following so far. So you've built it up since 2016, and I'm kind of excited about that. Any other details you want to give to the people as we're closing this up?
I don't think so. Just that we really enjoy what we do, and we want to say thank you for anybody who's come out to see us, and thank you to all, not just our parents, but all the other band members' parents and people who have helped us along the way, and thank you for giving us this opportunity to talk and talk about the band and promote the band and all that sort of stuff.
So have you written any original songs, or is it primarily covers?
What we do is pretty much covers. We started back in 2016 as a cover band, and we've kind of differentiated based on what covers we're doing. But recently, I got into writing music.
How did that happen?
I don't really know, honestly. I had a few demos that I had written just up in our studio, and I recorded them on the computer and just kind of let them sit. I never wrote any lyrics for them. And then one day, my dad and I were in California in some guitar store, and we were sitting with a guy named Adam Hamilton, who is an on-again, off-again member of LA Guns.
Oh yeah.
And
okay.
I was sitting there playing a guitar, and my dad and Adam were sitting, and there's a good history between them. They both grew up in Shreveport and were in numerous bands in high school. And
so
then
they went from LA to LA.
Pretty much, yeah. But yeah, Adam got picked up by CC DeVille from Poison and moved out there. I don't know when, but anyway, so he put together a studio in his house, and he's been doing numerous albums with a lot of famous people. I think right now he's doing a cover album with David Hasselhoff.
What the Hoff? Excellent.
And he just finished a Christmas album with William Shatner.
Oh, man.
It's crazy.
Have you heard any of William Shatner's music?
I have not.
Oh,
I've listened to some. I mean, I've listened to some of the songs.
Listen to his "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds." Stewie from Family Guy redid it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So yeah, hilarious.
Awesome.
So wow.
But yeah.
You're touching greatness. Now, all right, you're a party band, and I liken a party band to someone who plays a character actor in a movie. It's like they're not going to be the stars, where they're going to be, superstars and go, be the guy that makes 20 million in the front, but they will work steady forever because they're willing to play what the people want.
Right.
And this is you can work steady as a party band when you do covers. So I'm stoked. And yeah, do some originals if you get the chance. I'm excited for you on that endeavor. That's like a branch out.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say earlier, like I wrote those songs, and then when my dad and Adam were sitting there, my dad was like, it'd be really cool is if you could come out here and just spend a week with Adam and sit in the studio and do your thing and let him teach you basically all the tricks of the trade and how the music business works. And on that day, they hatched up that plan. So my dad was like, okay, you're going out to LA for this week in the summer, and you're going to spend the week in Adam's studio. So when that week came, I brought those two demos that I had to Adam, and he was like, okay, here's how they work. Here's what we should do to alter them. So we recorded 2 songs, and then on the third day, he was like, okay, do you have something else? And I was like, I have this one riff that I've been working on, but I didn't really have a song made out of it. And in about 15 minutes, we turned it into a whole song, which a lot of people are saying was the best one on the EP. And then the fourth day, I said, I kind of wanted to do a cover. And he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, we're in California, and one of the favorite songs that we play right now is Beverly Hills by Weezer. So I was like, it's only appropriate to put that on here. So we recorded that. And then that Thursday night, I was like, well, crap, I only have one more day left in the studio. So I wrote the lyrics to all 3 songs and went back the final day and recorded them all. And then we were done. And now we play one of my originals in the show that we play.
That's a step in the right direction, branching out. So, all right. What's coming up in the near future for Bad Habit? Jack, let's go with Sam Bennett. I've heard Jack talk about Hollywood. What's coming up near Sam Bennett?
We have, a lot of gigs coming up. We've got our upcoming gig at the Old Bank Sports Grill. I think Zach had mentioned that.
Great venue.
Night.
Great venue. You'll be upstairs, and all the people will be enjoying some good food downstairs. It's really nice. I mean, I guess the worst part is huffing your equipment upstairs, but it seems like that won't be a terrible thing. It's once you get all set up.
That's on May 29th, and then we've got June 1st at Sticky's, and June 15th at Ginger's Handlebar, which is a new venue. We've never played there before, and we're looking forward to that. And,
are these all ages or just?
Yes, we don't really do any unless it's a private event. Most of our shows are open to everyone. We offer a overall family friendly show.
Very good.
We've got the Blitzed Pig, which is in Hot Springs, and that's on June 22nd. July 13th at the Beehive, and so on. I won't bore you.
No worries. So where do they find you on social media, Jack Bennett?
Yes.
All right. On Facebook and Instagram, our handle is Little Rock's Bad Habit, and that is all one word.
Okay.
And then we just launched our new website at badhabitrocks.com.
Now, do you want to put your individual social media in the show notes?
Sure, I'll go ahead and say mine. My Instagram is Jack Bennett 2018, and Sam's, I believe, is Sam_Bennett_02.
Yeah, okay. Send that to me, and I will put it in the show notes. Any other way to get a hold of you?
We have a website called. Oh, you did? Yeah. Oh, well, we already talked about the website.
Telephone number?
Our booking phone number is 501-626-8881.
I think we pretty much got it all. Mr. Jack Bennett, Mr. Sam Bennett, the Bennett brothers out there in Little Rock, Arkansas, of Bad Habit. Any last words for the people, Sam Bennett?
I think that pretty much covers it. Thank you for having us.
Good job. Any last words for the people, Jack Bennett?
I will say the same thing that my other guitarist said last night, which is just continue to support local live musicians. It's great that we're doing what we do, but we're nowhere without our fans.
Thank you so much, Jack Bennett and Sam Bennett of Bad Habit of Little Rock, Arkansas, and beyond. I look forward to hearing more from you. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There you have it, party people. The Bennett brothers, they're going places. And Bad Habit Band, they are definitely going far. They already have a following. People are calling them. They really don't have to hustle all that much, whereas I pretty much have to hustle if I want to have weddings or parties and people call me. No, these guys are just, sitting back and letting mama do the work. it's good that they have their parents in their corner, and support your children, mommies and daddies. Whatever your kids want to do, steer them in the right direction, as long as it's not illegal, as long as it's not going to hurt anybody else. If they feel like trying something, let them try something. It's good to fall down as long as you get back up. So bad habits, follow them and go see a live show. Do it. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. If you want to tell your story, I encourage you, do so. Give me a call at 501-470-6386 or info@radiowhat.com. Easy peasy. It's Keys Dan, radiowhat.com, djlittlerock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.
Radio What? The music you want. Hey guys, this is Shelly G with a fast fact. The first parachute jump from an airplane was made by Captain Barry at St. Louis, Missouri in 1912. Do you have a fast fact? Share it with us at Interactive Radio, radiowhat.com.
Hey, Keys Dan. What you doing? My line.
I'm playing the best music by request 24 hours a day. Click on the request tab at the top of radiowhat.com.
RadioWhat.com.